Well, I do believe we're live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of our show. I'm Tim Yancey. Guess what? It's Jason Gowan's birthday tonight. So, happy birthday to my buddy and my co host, Jason Gowan. He is out partying, having a good time, which for him probably means Chuck E. Cheese. Um, He's a family guy. He's got kids. I guarantee you he's out somewhere like that having a good time. But he's probably going to pop in sometime during this broadcast and we'll get him on. Now, tonight's going to be a little bit different. As you know, the majority of our show, the theme around here is cosplay, costumes, creature fabrication and foam work and EVA and all that kind of crazy stuff. But one of the other things that we like to do and that I'm very proud of and we have done in the past on our show is spotlight people in the community that just shine. People who are special, people who are mentors to me and to other people in the community. They're heroes, they're stars. And this gentleman is one of my favorites. I'm going to show you something. I have two tattoos. Now, this is one. You get to see that one. And we'll talk about that one later, what that means to me. But this is the other. Right there. I don't even know if I can turn it around enough to show you. TCB with a lightning bolt. Now, for some of us old-time rock and rollers, you may know what that means. Some of us probably don't. But it's something that's very special to me, and I'm honored to wear that little tattoo and that symbol because it reminds me of people in my life that I've been lucky enough to be friends with, people in my life who have mattered to me and who made an impression on me that probably brought me from a lot of dark places and back to center and balance. And tonight's guest is one of those people. He's someone I have known forever. Me and him grew up together here in Palm Beach County. And while he may not have known of me so much, I sure knew about him. And he's somebody who, since that time, I've been blessed to have as a dear, dear friend. His name's Sean Kelley. Sean Kelley is a Grand Master. He's a 9th degree black belt in the art of Kenpo fighting systems. He founded the Guardian Angels. You know the New York group? He founded them here in Palm Beach County in South Florida and built that team here in South Florida when we were surrounded by neighborhoods that were just racked with drugs, drug abuse, drug dealers, predators, people that were in there. And he got in there and cleaned those areas out with that team. He's somebody who, I'll tell you a quick story. Back in the early 80s, I was a big martial artist guy. I was out there more show than actually walking the walk, but I had a really good kick. You know, I could throw one really fast. I could punch pretty quick, move, bob, and weave. This guy was a real deal. He's a tank. Wait till you see him. And he was serious about it. And while the rest of us were kind of bouncing around on the mat and just throwing little jabs and stuff, he was out there whooping some ass. That's what he was doing. And I went to his studio because I had heard about this guy, Sean Kelley. And I wanted to see who he was. And he's shorter than me, about that much. But he's a big guy. And I could tell right away when he walked in the room, there was an aura around this guy. And I said, uh-oh, this dude's a real deal. And I watched him and I watched his group, and it was like military precision. Everybody was at attention on the mat. Everybody was standing there ready to rock and roll. And when he sprung like a tiger. And that's the guy that I'm proud and honored to call my friend. He is also the founder and creator of a program designed for kids called Stomp The Bullying. And he teaches internationally around the world. He's been to Ireland. He's been to Chile. He's been, you name it. The guy has done it, and I'm proud to bring him on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my friend, Sean Kelley. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for the accolade of announcement.
Well, it's all true, and you're the real deal. And I have been looking forward to this show for a long time, man. So you're at your house right down the street from me. How things going?
Actually, everything's going very well, and I'm glad during the introduction you mentioned the word team, because that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was.
And
Let's
when
go
I
back
joined the
to
Guardian
those
Angels
days.
in 1980, that was around 1986,
Okay, okay.
and I
Now
joined when they,
you,
yeah, I joined when they had
I'm sorry, we have a little bit of a delay,
Paul
Sean, so I'm
Martinelli and
sorry.
Curtis Lewa.
We'll get back and get our sync together here. But where I wanted to start with you was way back in like 75 or so. You started studying martial arts, right?
I did. I was first starting when I was like 12, 13 years old in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And it was
And
back in the day when Bruce Lee was popular.
right. Now from there, I don't know how you did it, but in the 70s and 80s, martial arts was hot. I mean, it was a big thing. We didn't have MMA. We didn't have all of that stuff that they have now, mixed martial arts and UFC and all of that. And you founded Kelley Karate Center.
I did. When I moved to Florida around 1983,
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted my own studio. And I was working full time for Tire Kingdom. I was
Okay.
managing a martial arts school in Lantana owned by Richard Fromm. It was a PKA kickboxing studio, and he was very well known for his reputation of promoting and teaching professional and amateur kickboxers. And we struck a sincere friendship. And because of Richard, it was the owner, he was co-owner, but the owner of the school decided to kind of pull the rug out and shut down, which I always had a home studio. I honored all the students in their contracts for the length of which they still had under Richard for free. And
Okay.
that's kind of, yeah, and that's what started me launching my passion.
Mm-hmm.
And short story to that time and era to where I am now today.
And that was, when did you open Kelley Karate Center? What year was that? Did you say again?
1984.
1984. And that's when I started hearing about this guy, Sean Kelley. Now, at the time, I believe you were somewhere like around a second degree black belt.
I was probably around the second or third. Yeah, that sounds
Third.
about right.
Okay. All right. And I got to tell you, man, I mean, word got around fast in the martial arts community here in South Florida. Hey, this is this new guy, and he's a pit bull, and he's doing it. And you go in there, you're going to sweat, you're going to work out, you're going to come out sore. And that was you, man, and you were doing it. Now, you brought in some amazing workshops and brought in special celebrities and stuff in the world. You mentioned PKA, and back then, that was the big deal. That was the real deal. It was as big as UFC is now.
It was. And people like Joe Corley, Don Willis are still very good friends of mine. I'm still part of the PKA. They kind of reborn the organization because, I mean, that's what everybody knew back in those days. Between
Right.
kickboxing organizations was either the PKA or the WKA as far as the two different
Right.
organizations.
Right. Now, there was also some guys, Bill Superfoot Wallace was involved in that, Joe Lewis, some of those guys. You were bringing them in because I remember I came to your place one time. Bill Superfoot Wallace is out there throwing kicks at 60 miles an hour, teaching classes, doing seminars and stuff. So you really were kind of the base of operations for some serious martial artists here in South Florida.
For 25 years, still now even on a smaller scale since I don't own my school anymore, but I promoted large gatherings, seminars, camps.
Yeah.
I felt the best of the best. If you knew about them, I was going to try and bring them in.
Yeah. Now, I mentioned my little tattoo, but I didn't tell anybody what it was. You care to elaborate on what that symbol is?
Well, it's symbolic to, if I can show you mine.
There it is. Yeah.
It's if anybody who's a fan of Elvis, which I was
Yeah.
since I was 5. But there's a little more story behind that because Elvis also was a 8th degree black belt in Kenpo Karate under Ed Parker,
Yes.
who was also my teacher. And I'm a 9th degree today, which means I'm still growing as a student,
Right.
and I share what I know. But the story behind the TCB was when you received the TCB chain for the men, it meant that you were accepted by Elvis into what's called the inner circle.
Right. Right.
And the martial arts side of it, it meant that you had discipline, faith, and spirit.
Right.
Elvis had always wanted to do his own organization about what he felt the martial arts was. It was
Yes.
actually his second love other than music. And how funny is that you and I both had the opportunity and do know some of his closest family members. One of them, who was my recent roommate for a number of years, was David Stanley, his stepbrother,
Yes.
who was one of the original bodyguards. And actually, him, Billy, and Ricky, the brothers, all moved into Graceland when they were like 4, 6, and 8 years old in 1960.
Right. Right. Now,
So,
their mom, Dee Stanley, married Vernon.
correct.
And so 4 years old, David Stanley, I got a picture of him. I'm going to pull up just so everybody can see. This is Sean Kelley on your left. David Stanley. Who's that guy in the white there?
His name is Patrick Wynn.
Now, is he the guy that's
W-R-E-N.
running the studio now?
He is the owner.
Okay, he's the one that's running the studio there in Memphis that Elvis used to train at.
Correct.
And that's Billy over there on the right, right?
Correct.
Okay, and that's David Stanley and Billy, who are Elvis's brother.
Correct. That was
cool is
taken
that?
about a little over a year or so ago, and we went to Tennessee. Unfortunately, his brother passed away, Ricky,
Yeah.
and we took the opportunity to go visit Patrick Wren, Grandmaster Patrick Wren, and he gave us a
Right.
kind of a tour and showed us how when anybody's in Tennessee, they go up the stairs and he has this big wall on. You can actually see footage of the old. It's called the Gladiators movie, where Elvis and the entourage
Yes.
were walking up the stairs. Dave Hepler's in the picture with him as well. I believe it's either Billy or Ricky, or various pictures are being shown where they're walking up and down the stairs. Actually, the entrance,
Yeah.
and they signed the wall.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like the thing to do is if you're visiting in Memphis, visit Tennessee Karate Institute. And by the way, Bill Wallace was a part of that school when it was owned by Red West. And
Yes.
I believe Pat Wren's, I think it was either his father or a relative. So it was co-owned.
Right. Now, Elvis actually went looking for Bill Wallace, the way I understand it, and had him come in and start teaching karate down there at the studio.
Well, Bill was teaching. First of all, he worked for the University of Tennessee.
Right.
He was a physical education teacher.
Yeah.
But more importantly, obviously, martial arts being his passion,
Yes.
he fell into the opportunity to work for Elvis. And Elvis, of course, always wanted a place of his own. He also worked out with Kung Ree out of Tennessee, who was also a very close friend of his.
Yeah.
And, whenever he could, he would visit mostly between the Tennessee location and Ed Parker Santa Monica School in California.
Now, the connection comes in with Elvis, the Memphis Mafia, and the members of his team with this guy. I'm going to show everybody a picture, and this is one of my favorite pictures ever. You ready? Here we go. Who's that guy?
Yeah. That's
Now, who's
Grandmaster
that
Ed
guy
Parker.
right there?
That's
That's
Ed Parker.
Anywhere
Right.
that Elvis went, Ed Parker was close by. Actually, so was David and them. Now, Ed was Elvis's bodyguard, right?
Yes, they met while Mr. Parker was doing a demonstration in the Wilshire Hills in California. And Elvis, I believe, was out there at the same hotel because he was either filming or doing something. And he happened to look down in the courtyard and saw a demonstration going on.
Okay.
And so he told, I believe it was Red West or Sonny, and said, "Hey, would do me a favor and have that guy come up. I'd like to meet him. And the story told to me by Ed Parker was, ironically enough, Elvis, as humble as he never assumed everybody knew him. And so when he came up to meet Elvis in the suite, they opened the door and everything, and he walked up and said, "I don't know if you've ever heard of me, but my name is Elvis Presley."
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody's heard it. I think 9 out of 10 people on the planet have heard of Elvis Presley.
Yeah, yeah.
But they became buddies, and I've seen some real beautiful moments on video. The last concert Elvis did is he's walking out and he's waiting on the side of the stage. There's a little moment where he kind of looks back at Ed, and Ed looks at him, and they make that eye contact, and you see the
Yeah.
smile, like, I got you back, buddy.
Very
And
typical, very typical Polynesian. It was the ohana that came between the two of them. Elvis loved Hawaii, and
yeah,
Ed Parker was from Hawaii. They had a
right.
very close relationship, very, very close relationship.
How did you meet Ed?
I met Mr. Parker in 1978. Ironically, my teacher at that time was Francisco Conde, who actually met Ed Parker and knew Mr. Parker from Hawaii when he was stationed there.
Right.
And because at those times and days, back in the late 40s, 50s era, there wasn't that many martial arts well-known people, but Ed Parker and Francisco Conde met each other through, they're known as the Embarado brothers. They are the co-founders of the Kojin Kenpo system, and they were Professor Chow's first black belts. So it was kind of like everybody knew each other within the circle.
Right.
But Mr. Conde was a student and a member under, because they always considered Mr. Parker his senior.
Okay.
And was also a member of the IKK, the International Kenpo Karate Association. And 1978, I was going to a tournament, which Mr. Conde was well known on the East Coast of doing. I met Ed Parker, and it was like, and the guy had an aura like you knew when he was in the room.
Yeah, definitely.
Very
much like
charismatic.
Elvis.
100%. Yeah, a great analogy.
Yeah, no doubt. Now, a lot of people don't know this about Ed Parker, and one of the things that Elvis was attracted to, and that, of course, everybody knows Ed by, is he was the founder of the American-style Kenpo Karate system.
Correct.
He brought that to America.
In 1954, he actually opened up the first martial arts studio, American martial arts, called American Kenpo, and opened up the first commercial school in the United States. And it became an international study and discipline all over the world, from Guatemala, Mexico, South America, Spain, Italy, throughout Europe. We can go on and on to all the different areas that he established himself.
Okay. And you met him and started training with him. Now, from there, that's how you started going up in your belt ranking system was through Ed Parker, correct?
Well, what happened was when I moved to Florida, I was first tested for my black belt in around 1983 in front of Francisco Conde and Master Parker. So technically, I got tested by 2 grandmasters, which was phenomenal. And back in those days, you never knew when you're going to test. You just show up. So I was called from working underneath a car at 7 or 8 at night, come to the school. And I thought Mr. Conde just wanted me to teach class because someone didn't show up. I didn't know that there was something going on. So next thing you know, I walk upstairs and open up the door. There's Ed Parker, Denise Conde, and about 15, 20 people on the floor. And he said, "Go get your uniform and jump out." I didn't know what to expect. So we were put on the spot, and we were told to do what we do. And Ed Parker, he liked street fighters, and we were definitely that. And he wanted to encourage, he wanted to encourage us to go to the internationals to test our skills, if you will. But I'll never forget any and all those moments. But when I moved to Florida, I wanted to pursue and always wanted to get more involved with the self-defense side of it, the science of it. And since Mr. Condi and so many other people researched and were members and tied into Ed Parker's art, I decided, since he already knew me and pretty much was there when I got my black belt, I reached out to him to ask to come under his tutelage and under his organization. And that's exactly how I started. But I went from in what we call balls to the wall. I really invested.
We can
I
say that
traveled.
stuff on the
Yeah,
show.
I really did. I invested. I traveled. I pursued. I researched. I brought Mr. Parker. I brought anybody he spoke of that were his top students, and still doing it. I mean, there's so much there, and it's a system. And so, because it's a system, it allows me to better my game because of the science and the geometry. You know, people like yourself and other people that come from different walks of life or have different issues or disabilities or injuries. I mean, personal protection, we need to know it at all of our ages, no matter what those circumstances are.
Right. Listen, at this point, I want to bring somebody else in. I just found my co-host. He's back in from his big happy birthday party at Chuck E. Cheese. Look at my friend Jason. There he is. How you
Hello.
doing?
Goodness
Happy birthday,
darn.
Jason.
Hello. Nice to meet you, man. I've heard a lot about you.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
going
you.
to
Thank
pull
you. Nice to
Sean
meet
over
you.
into the center here. Now, Jason, I wanted you to be here tonight because this is a topic I think that both myself and you can relate to. We're going through the good old days with my friend Sean Kelley here, and he is a creator and founder of Stomp The Bullying, which is something that is very near and dear to me. I had a less than spectacular father, and went through a lot of abuse from that. And people don't understand that bullying is not just a kid who goes to school and gets picked on by the other kids.
Correct.
So as we roll through your career here, you started to connect and work with other people in the business. And who's this guy in the middle there?
That's Bill Superfoot Wallace.
Right. Now, he is the one that was working with Elvis. And you know quite a few of those guys. We talked about David. We talked about Billy and Bill. But you guys have a special connection, you and Bill. Tell me about Superfoot.
Bill Wallace and I first met in 1987, where I was always a fan of his since I got in. I mean, who doesn't know Bill Wallace? But I wanted to bring him into my school because of his background in both kinesiology and physiology, and that would be the man to bring in. And when I reached out to him, he was so down to earth, part one. I don't like doing second best at anything if I can help it. So I called Joe Corley of the PKA, and I said, "Hey, Joe, which I really didn't have it. I just made it up. I said, I lost Bill's number. Hey, do you have it?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, I got it right here." So I called Bill directly, and it was that point on, literally, Bill and I have been friends. He's been a mentor. He's like family to me, as he is to my family, and his beautiful wife, Jane. And we're like regulars. I mean, we see each other on a regular basis. We do lunch, we do dinner, we do get-togethers as often as we're possibly able to. But he is probably the most unique world-class champion one could ever find and learn so much from him on and off the mat. I mean, he has got a lot of wisdom.
Yeah. Now, for folks who don't know this, Bill Superfoot Wallace in the 70s was with the number one karate association, PKA Karate, and he was the undefeated champion through 24 or 26 bouts, I believe, retired undefeated. He's the guy that had that massive kick that he could kick straight up in the air. He could reach up and touch you on the eyebrow and then this eyebrow and then pop you in the nose with his big toe, that kind of stuff. That's the flexibility that he had. He was the fastest martial artist. That guy's 73 years old now and still has the best kick. One of the best kicks in martial arts today.
What's unique about Bill is not only did he work with a lot of people like Elvis, he was also the personal bodyguard and actually taught John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
He was the bodyguard, and for the record of it, he was also the person who found John Belushi when he was, when he passed away. He was the
Right.
first person on the scene. Yeah. But he also was in Chuck Norris's movie, The Force of One. He played a bad guy. And also with Jackie Chan in The Protector. Bill was always known to be the bad guy. But he's just phenomenal. He was also in the first UFC as one of the commentators. Yep. And I mean, we can go on with his accolades and what he's done, but he was one of the first martial arts world champions that went on a patrol with me, with the Guardian Angels in the day when it was not that safe to go and just walk around.
Take a look at this picture.
Yeah.
Who's that guy on the right there?
Yeah. And that's John Corcoran in the middle, who was the editor for Fighter Magazine.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So we made a lot of great connections, and Bill's a strong supporter of our Stomp the Bully program. And he's got story. I mean, he talks about it himself, about the word bullying is in everybody's vocabulary. Yeah. And along with myself was Michael Miller, a good friend of mine from Bradford, Pennsylvania, who also worked for the state of Pennsylvania and with Child Services. And
that's where I live. That's where I currently live.
Where?
In Bradford, Pennsylvania. I'm there literally right now.
So do you know Michael Miller right there in right on Main Street?
I don't, but I mean I definitely could just go drop in.
Well, you know where 2J's restaurant is?
Yes.
A block down the street.
Huh.
So this logo you see behind me, up the other side, is probably still on his window.
I will have to look for it.
Yep. So
that
you've
was
gone
one of the
through
reasons. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Jason, you live in Bradford?
Yes, correct.
Interesting. That's a nice, unique town. I went to the museum like 3 times. Zippo lighter.
It's home. I mean, I've been here. I grew up here.
No kidding. I'm from originally Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Just to tell you.
Yeah. So southern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, correct. That's too funny.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to show some of the history and some of the folks that have worked with you, and some of the names in the martial arts community that you're aware of, you made the connection, is that all of them are working together with you, with us, because I'm also a part of Stomp the Bullying.
Exactly.
To support your campaign to help end bullying. And you have created such a unique system. I don't think there's anybody out there that is doing the work that you're doing today. It's very different. It's very innovative. And you created a method of working with kids I've never seen anywhere else. Tell us about what happens when a kid... Well, first of all, let's talk about bullying. What is bullying?
It's amazing how the statistics tell us that about 160,000 children don't miss school because of the behavior of being bullied and being feared by it.
Yeah.
Another thing that about 282,000 are physically attacked in schools, and which could lead and has led to suicide.
Right.
Now, you can imagine those stats where they say about 19,000 children are bullied and have committed because of bullying alone, suicide. Now, those numbers have changed dramatically, and now bullying has become, it's a behavior. And when I decided to work this program, we wanted to first, I know strongly in my heart because of my own issues when my first episode happened to me. Jason, you remember New Holland, Pennsylvania?
Uh-huh.
I lived there at 5 years old, and that was my first place of an incident that happened as someone bullying me. But when it happened to my daughter in 2013, I had enough. And that's when I decided to step up, stand up, and use my martial arts wisdom and skills, my guardian angel influence, and go on a campaign to create martial arts safe places. And that means there's not a martial arts school, well, other than the pandemic issue, but right now we're hoping that martial arts schools pick back up. We're hoping that those facilitators, those coaches, for example, in our program, Tim will tell you, we have a paralegal, we have a person who was for over almost 40 years a football coach for Palm Beach County. We have brought on people that are in the martial arts who are also experts in jiu-jitsu. Also, a female has allowed us to use her facility at Razor's Edge Kenpo Karate in Lake Worth on 10th Avenue, Cynthia Graham, who's very, very good with her kids program and has an excellent adult program as well. But she has the personality to change lives, much like many of our other coaches. And recently we brought on a life coach who's not only a neurobiologist who does research on studies, let it be ADHD, let it be Parkinson's disease, all types of behaviors, but she brought in the element of being able to change the behavior through communications and how to work with them one-on-one through leadership and mentoring, doing workshops, doing speaking engagements. We've gone to church groups, Boy Scouts of America, Girl Scouts of America, any civic community that would have us, we would go. Tim will tell you, we've gone to schools in Lake Worth that had invited us because of the, there was a particular issue starting to happen and they wanted to reach out to us to come in and speak to not only the students, but to the parents. Bullying, everyone will be a victim of a bully, some more severe than others. But now we want to tell people there's an outlet and we are creating places known as safe places. When I was a kid, my parents told me that if you ever needed to find help, you went to your nearby fire department or police department. Well, those areas are not as easily to recognize anymore. They're kind of hidden.
Yeah.
And I had an episode, small story, quick, was a lady that came in. She was in her late 60s to 70s. And I was just finished my children's class. And beside my school, when I had it full time, there was a Dairy Queen, an ice cream store attached to my place, right next door. And as my children were leaving the class by their parents, this lady walked in and sat at my waiting area, right at the door area. I thought it was one of the grandmothers waiting for one of the kids. So she caught me off guard. So I approached her and I said, and she was shaking. So I thought it was because of her age, but I asked her if she was okay. Who was she here to pick up? And she says, no, I was just robbed. And I'm like, excuse me? Are you okay? And I got her some water and I said, so I called 911, called the police department to come and, check on the situation. I immediately went outside to check on her vehicle where she told me she was coming out of the Dairy Queen and someone pulled off her purse that was around her shoulder. And it was still daylight, midday. It was still, well enough lit. It wasn't late at night, too dark, you couldn't see anything. And they targeted her. So when she sat down and I said, or I got the police coming, are you okay? Should I call, a paramedic or anything like that? She said, no. She goes, of course, I felt scared. And I said, if you don't mind me asking, of all the stores here in the plaza, why did you come into my place? She said, well, I felt safe. I said, why? She says, well, the man that owns this school used to teach my grandchild. And I know that he used to be with the guardian angels and he protects people. And I said, ma'am, you're right. My name is Sean Kelley. And forgive me for not recognizing you or who your grandson would have been, but you're correct. You'll be definitely in the place to be safe. And she was the one that used those words about feeling safe that triggered in my mind that I should be able to go around and promote martial arts safe places. Obviously, there's a criteria, there's a certification process that Coach Jocelyn Gonzalez provides. She's the lead on that. She's the one that does the interviews and the program in regards to her speaking to our group. As Tim will tell you, she goes and does a lot of corporate speaking. We have a lot of others that people like Tim or myself or some of the people who are called level 1 facilitators have that ability to speak and talk about what we do. We try to find sponsors because that's what it takes to bring most of these uh, kids into our enrichment program, is to give them a second chance. We also get involved with other organizations such as what Deborah Morgan does, a friend of ours who provides food for the needy, Palm Beach Harvest. Matter of fact,
Hmm.
the last 4 years, we were able to contribute on Thanksgiving Day over 700 meals at this particular drop spot location. And Tim will tell you, he's been involved with the homeless over there in the area that he works.
Yeah.
So that's just who we are. We're the people that believe in helping people of value. If you believe in people, then you too step up and lead by that very same, it's called intentional living. Live with good intentions. And we try to set those kind of standards.
So you find people in the community that are leaders, that are instructors who have a skill set, and you pair them off and match them up with kids who are having issues in school.
That's just it. We profile the individual case by case. Um, I wish we have Norman Whipple, who's in Savannah, Georgia. We have Mr. Mike Friedman, who's in Lake Mary, Florida. We even now have a huge growth of interest in South America with Roberto Vidal,
Yeah.
who is the representative for that area in Chile. And people like Bill Wallace or people like Masters Reiner Schulte, a good friend of mine, Rich Hale out of California. There's a lot of martial arts people who they'll tell you their own bully story, which is why they got into martial arts.
Yeah.
And since we all had that story, and what empowered us was the ability to learn the martial arts, and it gave us not only the physical strength, it rebuilt our emotional strength and gave us
Yeah.
mental willpower. Where now, through the help with motivational speakers, again, I'll go back to someone like Jocelyn Gonzalez or Paul Martinelli. And, I work for the John Maxwell team, and I'm learning a lot about what they do. And they're outstanding on just lifting
Yeah.
people's spirits and how to empower people to get through trials and tribulations. And if we can bring this whole package deal together with everyone's influence, which is really the case, I
Yeah.
think we're on to something. We're on to a great momentum.
I can tell you from experience what bullying can do to someone, and I think Jason can speak on this as well. It's a constant state of creating grooves, just like in a record and a needle. And somebody's always telling you, "What are you doing? You're a piece of crap. You're not worth anything. Why can't you do anything right?" Those little imprints leave grooves. They leave scars on a
It's funny you
person's life, on their psyche.
yes, it's funny you said that because recently one of the topics that even Coach Jocelyn told me about, that she started doing a topic with one of her keynote speeches, was called Love Prints. And it was a message to take those experiences that you had, maybe Jason, myself. I can tell you just horror stories of my childhood from my own
Mm-hmm.
parents that wasn't very pleasant. But what I did learn was what not to do. And the martial arts saved my life because I could
Yeah.
have become, just the wrong side of the street and gone wrong. I have to say it was Paul Martinelli who really gave me that chance to uh, push to the limit. He believed in me. He believed in what we offered. We came together because of a little girl by the name of Nana Nicole Reed, 7 years old, got shot and killed just playing innocent ball in the front yard in 10th and Tamarind down in that area.
Yeah.
And it was a community outcry. And I can tell you all kinds of different stories, but those stories are what fuel my fire to continue doing what we do, and hopefully other people will understand that feeling when you don't feel like you're able, if you don't feel like you're capable, or if you don't feel like you're a part of something. Well, we tell everyone with Stomp the Bullying, everyone can do a part.
Yeah.
Everyone, there is a part there. I've got people that, such as there's this gentleman named Bill Peroon. He's a grandfather. Every month, he donates to the cause where we're able to do what we do. Even on the budget we have, we make ends meet. We've got people, Marcy Gorman, a very dear friend of mine who I've known her for over 20, 30 years. Paul Martinelli with Empowered Living donated to us. He said, I believe in what you do as I do, and empowering people to take a chance. If you have a dream, if you have, like David Stanley, if you remember, Tim said, follow that dream.
Yeah.
Which was one of Elvis's songs.
Absolutely.
And exactly. And if you believe in your dreams and if you believe in your cause, everyone should be involved with community, giving service to community, like what your wife does at the church. I believe that is it's our part. Giving back is what we should be doing. So, for example, Jocelyn Gonzalez and myself, we calculated in the last 2 years that we have given speeches and presentations between 3,000 to 5,000 people in our audiences all over the world that we've been to, and we've asked them to sign this big banner we have that basically it's called Reflections, and there's a deep story behind that. Yep. And every chance we have, we'll sit down if the time permits and talk about how we can all impact from a little bit. I don't care if it's $1 to $5, because obviously we give out, for example, school starting. We give out school supplies, backpacks, anything that's needed for those who don't have.
Right.
So we all can support organizations that we strongly believe in. Every community has an organization, these church groups, such as the one that your wife belongs to. I know for a fact all the work that they do constantly in the community.
Yeah.
And I think right now, more than ever, we need people to believe in their faith.
Sure. Now I have a picture of Jocelyn right here. I want to throw her up. There she is. That's Jocelyn.
She's an awesome inspirator, and she inspires everyone she comes into touch with. Obviously, being from Panama, she's bilingual. She's able to speak the language. And when she spoke, you should have seen the presentation she did in South America. We had a group, a family, travel, Tim, 9 hours to come to this event, and they had no idea, first time coming. And you got to understand, the poverty there is phenomenal, but they didn't care. They still wanted to come. And they came and told their story about how their son was bullied. And obviously the outlet was the martial arts. But when they found out that we were presenting Stomp the Bullying at this international venue, they came with their whole entire family in a bus for 9 hours just to attend. And now she still keeps communication with them. It was very touching. There wasn't an eye in this entire auditorium that was dry. Everyone was in tears. So we need people like your stories and my stories. Jason can tell his. All of us have a story.
Yeah.
Some are more profound than others. Peter Ween, if you remember Peter, who used to open up his radio show called Peter Ween's Living Room. I mean, he was one of the very strongest supporters and told everybody he could about what we do, because he saw firsthand the impact with the children that we provide the service for in the community.
So here's what I want to do. For just a second, allow me, please. I'm going to take the big screen. And I'm going to jump up in here and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about my friend and his organization. And this is the point that we're trying to get across. There are kids out there who are living in fear right now because they might have to go to school tomorrow. They're going to be with a group of kids who are bullies. There are kids who are afraid of their parents because their parents are bullies. There are kids who are living under circumstances where they live in fear. There are kids right now who are thinking about suicide. There are kids who are cutting themselves right now because anything is better than the pain that they're going through. Sean Kelley and Stomp the Bullying program takes kids who are referred to the program. How do they get referred? They get referred through schools, through counselors. They get referred by parents. They get referred by other kids who just go, hey, I know there's a kid at school and bad things are happening to him.
Yep.
And they refer them to Sean Kelley's organization. The kid is brought in. They do assessments. And the method that they treat and work with these kids is physical, mental. First, take care of any physical issues that are going on. Is there abuse happening? Is there sexual abuse? Is something going on? And I know of cases where kids have been taken immediately to a hospital. That's the kind of thing that happens. So that always comes first. What's the physical condition of a kid? Then they delve into the mental aspects. What's going on? Do we need to get them in touch with counselors? Do we need to get them to psychologists, to people like that, to folks who can do those types of assessments? And then they work on the confidence issues. What Stomp the Bullying does, they take kids and they start to teach them how to grow. They put tools in the toolkit of these children specifically designed to deal with the bullying aspects. And first thing they teach them is, you know what? You look them in the eye, you make eye contact, you point at them and you say, stop, you're not going to do this anymore. And they practice that over and over again. And teach the kid confidence, and they get him to a place where he's down and he's staring at his feet and he's going, stop it. To a place of confidence where his shoulders are back, he's making eye contact, and he says to that kid, stop it, this ends here and this ends now. That has an amazing impact on what's happening there, and a lot of times it'll stop it. Then, if that doesn't work, they say, you know what, you need to tell somebody. You need to go to a counselor. You need to go to a principal, to a parent, somebody, and tell them what's happening and see if the parents can work it out. And that's phase 2. And then the third phase is, guess what? We're going to take your kid. We're going to put him in, sponsored, free. It doesn't cost the kid anything. It doesn't cost the parents anything. And they put them in martial arts training, and they start to teach them the art of Kenpo or Jiu-Jitsu, whatever works for them, what they're comfortable with, whatever their skill set is, and they start to train them that they can defend themselves with confidence without injuring the other kid. Jiu-Jitsu is remarkable. Kenpo is remarkable in that you can learn the skills of, you know what, I can wrap this kid up, I can tie him up, I can hook him up, and he's not going to touch me. And guess what? Suddenly, he's not bullying somebody anymore. So there's a confidence, there's a set of phases that work within this program and stages that build this kid, reinforces him physically, mentally. It builds confidence. It doesn't cost him anything, and he has a safe place to go where he has friends, he has a support system, he has a mentor like Sean Kelley, he has a coach, these level 1 coaches that we're talking about, and you can be one of those coaches, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But it's an amazing program that takes a kid from those first steps of just learning how to make eye contact with somebody, because that's where some of these kids are at. There's kids who are thinking tonight about, maybe I should just kill myself because it's better than what I'm in. Those types of issues. And it begins to grow, and they begin to shine, and they begin to radiate. And that's what this program does. That's why Sean's here tonight. And Sean, if you can, tell us about, once the kids hit the mat and they start working with you, what are some of the first things that happen?
Well, one of the things we start to do is develop the I can attitude.
Yeah.
People, our coaches like Susan Jordan or John Rhodes, Ricky De La Garza, each one of them have a
Me.
yourself. Well, think about the whole team that we have. Each one of you
Absolutely.
guys have a personality as the child would be moving around the room, learning who each. That's what we want to do is open up their social abilities. You know, the thing about this pandemic has closed people. Human trafficking, by the way, has gone through the wall and
Oh,
has increased throughout the Palm Beach County area and across the world. So we need to arm our children with not only the self-defense, but the self-awareness. But now it's back to increasing their confidence and increasing their health and wellness.
yeah.
And to do things that they could do simply at home, exercises, teaching them how to engage now with homeschooling, the importance of their academics, and also if they're and the big issue, if you remember that recent shooting down in Parkland, I, believe it or not, had a personal relationship with the brother Zachary Cruz
Yeah.
because Nicholas Cruz and Zachary both part-time lived in an area that I was the security officer for. And when I had a conversation finding Zachary, I know we're deviating, but this is important.
We
He
got
was
all night.
he was 17 at the time, hiding up in a in a sliding board area. I saw him about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. I just picked up the fact that he was up there, and what he was doing is just trying to get away from all the news media
Yeah.
and walk his dog. He was just wanting to walk his dog. So
Now
when
we're
I
talking
saw
about the kid
the
who
brother,
was the brother of the shooter at Parkland.
correct, correct.
Yeah.
And I asked him how he was doing. He said, okay. And I said, hey, Zach, I said, if you don't mind me asking, what do you think about this situation with your brother? I mean, how does that bother you? Because I knew there was domestic problems going on at the property because I had 3 or 4 times I was called there. So I knew that there was problems already. And I know he recently also, within the last year or so, was on the Dr. Oz show telling his
Mm.
story about how he saw some of the signs. He just didn't know what to do or how to go about it.
Right.
But he did tell me this. And I said, if there was anything you could relay to someone as to what was the culprit of the problem, what do you think it would have been? He said, Mr. Kelley, he said, if there was one thing I wish my brother would have stopped doing so much of, was those video games.
Mm.
And Coach Jotzley recently, in a conversation we were having, we're just talking about this gaming. I mean, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
And we need to pull them. I mean, I understand that they got to use their computers because of school and that's their only entertainment. But we need to do a little bit of the old school stuff and get outside, walk, breathe the air, be creative, and this is going to be a problem if we don't address it. So right
Yeah.
now, not only is their mental health at stake, so is their physical health at stake. And if they see the parents going in a depressed mode, you got to understand that's just going to reflect back down on them. So
Absolutely.
I think our team of yourself, myself, Ricky, Norman, Mr. Friedman, of course, Jocelyn and her expertise, um, all the people that have come forward, Terry Rich, who's a police officer in the Carolinas, he too saw it firsthand and adapted the concept into his martial arts program. So I think we're onto something. If we start with a handful, it will grow. I mean, again, if we can change one kid at a time, or one young adult, or a adult, anyone feeling bullied, we have what's called the 3 Bs. We have the bully, the one being bullied, and we have a bystander. And
Yeah.
with everything that we've been witnessing on TV, we have law enforcement right now that is being not only bullied, but they're being assassinated. And we need to bring back law and order and respect. And we'll leave it at that. But we got to start our
Sure.
at our homes. We got to start at the grassroots of where we live and support local businesses all over again if it's a restart. We need to help support our teachers, our colleges. We need to bring back smiles and we need to bring back some happiness. We need more love. We need more faith. And we need people back into those churches. And we need it back in our schools. I don't care what anybody says about that. We need
Absolutely.
faith. We need belief because people feel broken. So
Absolutely.
that's my say.
Jason, what are you thinking over there, buddy? What's your
Well, I
comment?
mean, you know my story. You know that I've come from a place of some emotional, mental abuse, physical abuse from previous relationships. So I relate on a level more than I can even begin to say. And I think that will mean the world to anybody who finds your program to be taught something, anything that can help them feel a little bit of an empowerment so that they are not lost in that situation alone like I was. I was a cutter in high school. I went down the suicide road more than I could ever begin to explain to you. And I wish at that time I had had somebody to teach me tools to pull me back out so I didn't end up in the dark places that I did.
Absolutely. We're living
Jason,
in times now
yeah,
where, oh my gosh, do you see the news? Do you see what's going on out there? Do you see how society's attitudes are starting to change? Oh my God, it's Grand Theft Auto on the streets. You're right about video games and stuff. So here's what we're looking to do, gang. Sean, myself, Jason, we're looking to build a team. And this is what we need. We need support and we need your help. Stomp the Bullying is a organization that is designed to match kids with mentors. Just like the Big Brothers programs and
right.
stuff. Kids who are being bullied out there on the streets, we're going to put them through a system that is designed to empower them, to protect them, and to teach them the skills that they need and put the tools in their toolkit to stop the circumstances that are surrounding them and that are creating those grooves and scars in their life that we're talking about. And we need your help too. So here's my pledge. Sean and I have been talking quite a bit, and we have this show that Jason and I do. And Sean and I want to start developing another program that we're going to talk about that has Jocelyn, that has Bill Superfoot Wallace, that has some of these folks that are out there to come on and talk more about the stuff that Stomp the Bullying does because they're saving lives. I have personally gone to Sean's dojo, his karate studio, and I've seen the kids, and they're from 2 years old, 3 years old, up through 12 years old, up to when's my birthday? I'm still 58, up to 58 years old. And they're empowering people who have, because those scars run deep and they run for a long time. And somebody my age, they've done documentaries on me and my brother and the abuse that we went through, that kind of stuff. And that doesn't just go away quickly.
No.
And to go through his program and develop the skills and self confidence and the stuff that he teaches is phenomenal. You can be a coach. You can help mentor kids. If you can't do that, you can support the program. Donations through just helping out, whatever it might be. We need people in all aspects of business, of people who can help us promote, people who are good at social media, anything. You have a skill that you can bring to the party, I'm sure, and we can use it. So Sean and I are going to, with grace and with the luck of God and with a lot of manpower and support, we're going to start another program, another radio show that deals with bullying aspects, that deals with all sorts of empowerment, dieting, yoga, all kinds of things, stuff that I need. You know, Sean has been really helpful. Him and Superfoot and them called every night when I was going through surgeries and I was dealing with this thing that I had. I was in a hospital bed for 5 months, and they were there and they gave money. I was worried about how I was going to keep the lights on, and they were there and they made donations to my family so that I could pay the rent and not lose my house. That's the type of organization that they are, and they're very special to me. So I want to ask you to come on board. I want you to join us. We have a website. It's stompthebullying.net. Correct, Sean?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And there it is right there. That's where you can find out more information about this program. We want to open up safe places around the country, not just in South Florida. This thing is going nationwide. It's going to go international. We're going global with this, and we want you to be a part of it. So, Sean, I'm going to put you back on for last words here. For people who want to get involved, for kids who are going through bullying situations right now, and they want to contact you with more information about your program, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, they can reach me. I'll give an email, which
Okay.
is Sean SEANTCB at gmail.com. That's an easy way. Or contact either you or myself or through the website. But I think what we'd like to do, since we're going into phase 2, is to be invited. I would love to have an opportunity to be invited to groups, small groups, and network. And let's start from getting up out of our chairs and stepping out of our comfort zone and do what people are supposed to do, and that is to be around other people and intentionally put it to thought that we're all going to go out of our way to do something kind and be mindful. For example, here's a card. See this card, Tim?
Yes.
In the last month, I've given out almost 500 of those cards of people. Yep, you were one of them. Of people that I care about, and I just want to let them know I was thinking of them. And a small token of, just imagine that in the mail, someone saying, "Oh my gosh, I heard from one of my friends," or one of the things Jocelyn and I were talking about is for senior citizens, they are requesting pen pals. Remember that? Pen pal, be a pen pal.
Yes.
So, anyways, that should give people enough information. I hope they enjoyed at least a piece of what we had to offer and talk about. And you're right. Thank you very much and kindly for your words of wisdom and influence. Jason, I really look forward to having the opportunity to meet you.
You
I
too.
suggest
You too.
go meet and speak to Mike Miller. He's a great guy. He's right. Just tell him you're on the dialogue with us, and nothing for nothing, I'd like to have you included with us because your story is important.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And Sean, I want to thank you for being on the program too. This is something that's very important to me. I have always been kind of the sidekick of Sean Kelley for a long time. He has always brought me in and said, "Come on, man, come on out here and train." And then I had this heart attack thing, and then I had an infection. Then I have had my chest wired up, and I'm old and I'm out of gas, and I can't fight no more. I can get in a dojo, and it's a little scary to see the stuff that I do. But the way that I can give and I can contribute is by doing things like this, by bringing Sean on, making his cause known, and we want to do it more. With Sean's blessing and with Jocelyn and with the folks that he knows, we're going to create another program that we want, as I start to work myself back into a state of better health, better wellness, emotionally and physically. I want to take you with me and show you the people that I'm working with and the things that I'm doing. And I want you to be a part of that. I want you to be a team member with us, with Sean, as we begin to do this. And we're going to discuss those in future shows. I will let you know where and when. We'll have a website. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook Live. And we're going to bring this to the community, whether you like it or not. You're going to be a part of it. So if you get on Facebook, you're going to see my ugly face talking to you about good, positive change in life. It's about health. It's about wellness. It's about things like meditation, prayer, yoga, stretching, walking, exercise, Kenpo. We're going to talk about Elvis. We're going to talk about Chuck Norris and Bill and all of that stuff. So please join us when we do it. Sean, I'm going to give you the last word, buddy.
I want to say I'm humbled and very blessed and grateful for this opportunity. And I think we're blessed, Tim, you and I together, for the friendship we've maintained, keeping. And people like Jason, I hope we can influence him to be on board no matter what your distance away is. We have an awesome team of facilitators, and we have a
Yes.
support system of people that I love dearly. Every single one of them are important to me.
Right. So get excited about this. It's stompthebullying.net, and it's so much more. So as we come to you with new shows in the future and stuff, we are going to be talking about a wide spectrum of health and wellness and positivity things. This is our cause to end bullying, to help kids that are going through that. And that's what we're
Exactly.
going to do. And we're going to take you guys with us. So if you have an interest and you want to join the team and you want to find out more about where you can fit in and what part of what ingredients and what flavors you can bring to the party, you come see Sean. And that's www.stompthebullying.net. You can reach him on his personal email, SeanTCB@gmail.com. Right, buddy?
Yes, sir.
That's it. So look, I'm going to grab the big screen and let me get rid of that thingy. And Sean, I want to thank you for having you on the program. Me and Jason are going to wrap up and then I'll give you a call, okay?
Got it.
Thanks for being here, buddy. You take care.
All right, man.
Bye.
Love
Nice
you,
meeting
man.
you.
That was my boy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
That's my partner. The mighty Sean Kelley. He's a good guy. You know, I have always been a fan of Elvis, and he was like first generation. He was worked with all those Memphis Mafia guys. Superfoot Wallace was there, Bill Stanley. I'll show you some pictures here real quick. That guy on the left is Sean. The guy right next to him, that big monster, is David Stanley. David Stanley's working at the old International Hotel right now where Elvis did his concerts in Las Vegas. That's Elvis's brother. Yes, I said it. Wait, I thought Elvis didn't have a brother. He did. He had a stepbrother, and that's two of them. The guy on the end is Billy Stanley. And the guy next to Sean is David Stanley. They moved into Graceland when David was 4 years old. Here's Sean with the Guardian Angels back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, when Lake Worth just had a huge drug problem. There he is with Ed Parker. That's the guy who was Elvis's lead bodyguard. There's another photo of them. So Sean's a cool guy, and I really love him. He's worked with a lot of organizations, and he's huge here in Palm Beach County just for being a nice guy and helping you out. He give you the shirt off his back. I've seen him do it with homeless people. So, once again, I really want to recruit for this guy. I want to make his organization something special, and it's called Stomp the Bullying. The idea is to take kids who are being bullied, get them into programs, get them into martial arts programs, give them the support and the tools that they need. Things like counseling, things like building confidence skills, all of that. They put them in the program, and it's through a sponsorship, and it can be in karate centers around the nation. You may be in Wisconsin and you know a kid that's getting bullied. Call Sean Kelley. He'll get that kid hooked up in a martial arts school. The martial arts school will become a certified safe place once it reaches those regulations and the guidelines that they have for that. And then they begin to teach and mentor those kids in that community.
That's
And
amazing.
they're all sponsored. The kids don't pay anything for it. So we want to build a network of martial arts safe places around the country where these kids can go when they're having a hard time and get those confidence skills that they need. So I think it's a good thing.
Very cool.
All right. So I think that's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Got to tell you before we go, because this is really supposed to be kind of like a cosplay show. I think I figured out what I'm going to get. Let me change my little background here. There we go. Now we're back into the Creature Factory stuff. I decided on the classic look. You remember I was looking at the Transformer suits. These things are like over
Mhm.
8 feet tall. They're
Yeah,
huge.
yeah,
So I finally
you were looking
decided.
at a movie version.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of different versions, and I didn't get that. Because I don't watch Transformers. I saw
Right.
one or two movies, and it hurt my eyes. There was so much graphics and stuff going on, but kids love it. And there's like a Michael Bay version where he looks completely different, and then you have that classic version
You're
of
right.
Optimus Prime, right?
Yes.
So I want
Hmm.
to get me a costume. I love these over the top costumes, and so I decided I'm going to order the Optimus Prime classic.
Yeah.
So I've been talking to the guys in China. So next week, here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you some photos of the costume that they're sending. Um, Take a look at that stuff. And then what I want to do, Jason, if you're down with this, I'm going to set up, because I got 9 million cameras. I'm going to set up behind me a table and want to start to build some armor. And what
Okay.
I want to start with is a basic
Sure.
helmet pattern, and I want to talk about EVA foam, where you get it, what you do with it, the materials that you use to create these over the top costumes that they're building. And from there, we can go into stuff like contact cement versus hot glue. You're the guy for that. So I'm
Okay.
going to
Yeah.
start doing a build, and you're going to be the person that kind of helps me and walks me through it if you're down
Sure.
with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
All right, man. And we got a new intro. You guys want to see it? Or you want to wait till
Yeah.
next week? I made a goofy intro, and this shows kind of what the format of our show is going to be. It's about creature manufacturing, creature fabrication, costume designs. I love that stuff. Check this out.
That is fantastic. The old Encounters music and everything.
Right. You noticed that, huh?
A
I
little
found the old
remix. He did a little
MP3.
remix.
Yeah. So you notice most of those pictures were of Jason because I don't have any costumes yet. So when I
Look
get
at
my
there.
Optimus, man, you better watch out. It's going to be all Optimus.
Yeah, that
But
nothing wrong with
those
that.
are pictures of your stuff over the years. I even see your Captain America shield back there.
Yeah, because I'm building a Captain America right now.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Sweet.
here, I'll show you the helmet. Hold on.
Okay. Here, I'm going to pull me out of this. What? Now you're building that.
Right. This is AVA foam.
So you have actually made that helmet. That's not store bought
Nope. This is
from China.
I used a Pepakura, which is a Japanese paper folding program, and I ripped off the pattern, and then I transferred it to foam because it was supposed to be made out of fiberglass, but this is entirely
Right.
made out of foam, and these are just canvas straps from a backpack.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, that's what we hope to show you in the coming weeks. We're also going to do more shows and programs with folks who are community leaders and people that just inspire us. So far, we've had Kaz from Kaz Play On.
Mm-hmm.
I was so glad to have Sean on. And we're going to do some tutorial. Now, here's my thing. I don't like doing tutorials about this stuff because there's so many out there that are way better than anything Jason and I are going to show you. So we're building a website, creaturefactory.com. It's a mess right now. Don't go there because I'm embarrassed. But we're going to have all kinds of links there that you can go to and you can find out about this thing that we do and my new interest that Jason and I like. Costume manufacturing, fabrication, building crazy over-the-top extreme creatures and things like that. Oh, by the way, I went to the Stan Winston YouTube channel.
Oh,
There's some
oh, did you
crazy
go?
stuff on it. I finally found it. I thought it was like a membership StanWinston.com thing, like
No, it is.
Masterclass.
It is also that, but they post a lot of videos, like enticing videos on YouTube that are part of the program, but they're there's more premium content when you pay for it.
I got you.
But
So
there
we're
is
gonna show you
just
how to.
amazing stuff out there with them.
So we're gonna show you guys how to build really cool helmets out of EVA foam and stuff like that, where you can get all the parts, where you can get the foam stuff. We'll teach you how to form it, how to mold it, how to glue it all together, and how to put LED lights. That's the thing I'm studying now.
I
What you
actually
got?
just got a new roll of EVA foam at Michael's. Michael's is now carrying EVA foam
Yeah,
that
I've got a
is
roll of that
cosplay
as well.
grade, and I only paid because Michael's always has like crazy like 800,000% off coupons. So I paid literally $3 for this.
Wow, that's off the hook. Here's my roll.
What size is
This
that?
is. I have no idea. I have
My
no
other
idea.
new favorite thing
Yeah.
is the foam, the clay that hardens.
Yes. I just found out about that stuff this week, and it's cheap.
It's cheap, but I mean, I just sculpted Splinter's nose for the Splinter costume,
Let me see. Hold it up real close. Hold on. Let me get you a full screen. Oh my God, that's fantastic.
and it's already hardened. Like you wouldn't know that this was clay.
Right?
Um, and what I understand is you have to seal it now after I finish. It's not done being painted yet because I got to do some of the lighter colors and mix it.
Yeah.
Um, you have to seal it because if it gets wet, it'll actually turn back into a mushier clay. So if
Right.
you seal it, it hardens and it'll stay this. I mean, it's basically it's a hard foam piece now, and that'll
And
go on the splinter head wherever I kind of. There we go.
I see. Yeah.
So I'm running. I've actually got to get in gear on the Splinter costume because my wife has made it very clear that I need to finish it for her.
I hear you. So we're going to show you all that stuff in upcoming episodes. This is a big old floor mat. If you look at this, this is a giant piece of EVA foam.
That's
It's a
that's the
floor
stuff
mat.
I started with.
Right. And you can get this at Harbor Freight, of all places. You can get it at Home Depot. You can buy
Walmart
about
sometimes carries it.
yeah. And they're 2 foot by 2 foot sections of foam. It's bendable. You can heat it up. You can warp it into different shapes and stuff. And that's what people are making some of these amazing costumes from. And you can get like 9 pieces of it for like $10, $20, something like that. So we're going to start doing that stuff. Hopefully next week, we're going to get started on building a helmet. So that'll be fun.
Have you chosen a helmet?
No, I'm going to Evil Ted's. I'm going to get a pattern, and we're just going to start with that and see where it ends up.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you.
It's Jason's birthday. How
Yep.
cool is that? What did you do today? Anything?
Well, because we're still kind of quarantined here because my
Okay.
wife's heart condition and my job's not coming back till December when the executive order runs out. So we do a buy every other week. We do a grocery run, and we do so we did that today, and then Jace wanted to go to Target, and Target's kind of low volume here, so we are able to go there. So we just did that. We spent time together as a family today.
I was telling people you were going to have a hard night of partying, and by partying, I mean Chuck E. Cheese. So,
No, Chuck E. Cheese is still shut down here.
is it? Now, you
Yeah.
got your start in this costumey thing. You used to be the Chuck E. Cheese rat, huh?
I was Chuck E. Cheese. I started in Seattle, Washington, Bellevue, Washington. I was the Chuck E. Cheese for for that store. I used to do crazy birthday parties and stuff, and so I'll bring the picture next time of me as Chuck E. Cheese.
That's cool. So yeah, I decided I got to get this costume. I'm going to pull the trigger on it. Uh, They have a cool payment plan. The thing is the cost is like $400 cheaper right now for like a week, and that window is starting to close, and then it's going back to full price. So I gotta pull the trigger on it so I can save some cash. So when that happens, I'm already thinking about, well, what am I going to do when I get it? Where can I use it? Can I go to car dealerships, birthday parties? How do you rent a mascot? Those kind of things. So we'll discuss all of that in future episodes.
Yeah,
Special
absolutely.
thanks to my buddy Sean Kelley. Thank you for coming out, brother. I love you. As we're starting to find our feet in this radio broadcast again, we want to bring you more people that are inspirations in the community, as well as talk about cosplay stuff. So we love you, and we'll catch you next week. I'll give you the
Bye-bye.
last word there, JJ.
Peace out.
Peace out. Bye.